What if one of the most powerful organs in the human body has remained largely misunderstood, hidden in plain sight, and reduced to just a tiny visible point, when in reality, it is far more complex than most people ever imagine? The clitoris, a small yet extraordinarily sensitive organ of the female genitalia, sits at the top of the vulva, often perceived as nothing more than a visible dot. But beneath the surface lies a much larger structure, extending deep inside the body, with nearly 90% of its anatomy concealed under layers of skin and soft tissue, and this is only the beginning of what makes it so remarkable. At first glance, what is visible appears simple. A small external portion composed of the glands and its protective prepuce, delicate and discreet, almost easy to overlook. But this is only the surface of a far more intricate system, because internally, the clitoris expands into a complex network that includes the body, the crura stretching along the pelvic bones, and the vestibular bulbs that surround the vaginal opening, forming a hidden architecture designed for sensation. And yet, despite this complexity, most people recognize only the external tip, unaware that they are seeing just a fraction of the full organ. But this was only the first revelation. The glands of the clitoris, the small visible tip, is located precisely where the inner lips meet, a subtle junction that holds an extraordinary concentration of sensitivity, often described as a small pink button, varying from person to person, but typically measuring just a few millimeters in diameter. And despite its size, it contains an intense density of sensory input, making it one of the most sensitive areas of the human body. And as surprising as that may seem, the reality becomes even more striking when we look closer. For decades, scientists estimated that this tiny structure contained around 8,000 nerve endings, an astonishing number for such a small area. More recent observations suggest that the number of nerve fibers may be even higher, exceeding 10,000, concentrating an immense sensory capacity into a space no larger than a pea. And to grasp the scale of this, consider that the human hand, far larger and capable of complex movement, carries about 18,000 nerve fibers in its median nerve alone, meaning the clitoris compresses an extraordinary level of sensitivity into a remarkably small structure. And yet, this is still not the most fascinating part. Biologically, the clitoris shares a common origin with the glands of the penis, both developing from the same embryonic tissues before differentiating into distinct forms, a reminder that beneath apparent differences lies a shared anatomical foundation shaped by development in the womb. And this connection reveals something deeper about human biology that is often overlooked, but the story does not stop there. What makes the clitoris truly unique is that it is primarily dedicated to sexual pleasure, standing apart from most organs in the human body in its functional specialization. And for many women, stimulation of the clitoral glands plays a central role in reaching orgasm, acting as a key source of sexual sensation. And when arousal begins, a physiological transformation takes place as blood flow increases to the pelvic region, causing the tissues of the clitoris to swell and become more pronounced, intensifying sensitivity in a process that mirrors mechanisms found elsewhere in the body. And this transformation reveals just how dynamic this organ truly is. So what appears, at first, to be a simple external structure is in reality a sophisticated and deeply integrated system, largely hidden, highly sensitive, and fundamentally important in human physiology, a structure that has long been underestimated, misunderstood, or reduced to a fraction of its true form. And the final realization is impossible to ignore. What is visible is only the tip, while the true complexity lies beneath, reminding us that in human anatomy, the most powerful systems are often the ones we see the least.